Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. To get the coverage you need, call the number on the screen now.
Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casinos now, your favorite sports book available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E, and you get a risk-free bet up to $300 and 20 bonus dollars at BorgataCasino.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, in this week's book report, we've got our usual suspects of revenue numbers, handle numbers. We have some deals that were made, and we also have some launches.
Got a lot of revenue numbers this week.
This is the time of year for revenue numbers to come out. So why don't we start with our friends over there in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, they did well.
They set records for themselves.
They did well.
They set state records.
Wow.
They had a total handle of $525.8 million. That's double of October of last year. So they have been incredibly, I want to say, growth-centric. I don't know how to phrase that, but they've been growing like crazy.
No.
And they had a handle of $462.7 million in September, and they blew by that one. They had another $100 million almost in October.
An extra $100 million.
Yeah.
So what was the handle?
I just said $525.8 million.
Okay.
That was double October of 2019, more so.
All right.
They also had a revenue record. October 2020 had revenue of $36.77 million in revenue.
Wow.
That was the previous monthly high was in January of 2020 of $22.8 million. So they had $14 more million in revenue come in.
You know, I always say my favorite sports book was I just now it's being run by William Hill, but it was Bally's and the Bally's Wild West. It was called The Book. It's not called The Book anymore, but it's still a great site. But my go-to sports book, my go-to physical retail sports book is Parks, and that's in Pennsylvania, and they do a great job over there.
Very comfortable.
Absolutely, it's a great and sports betting in Pennsylvania is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun because to see a full day of sports at a sports book is just there's no other feeling in the world, and I can't wait to start doing that again.
Hopefully, we can do it soon.
Once this pandemic is done.
Well, congratulations, Pennsylvania, on 2 new state records.
Yes.
Moving over to Illinois, bettors wagered more than $305 million on sports in September. They didn't release October yet. They're like a month behind everybody else.
All right.
So when everyone's releasing September numbers, they're releasing August. When everyone's releasing October numbers, they're releasing their September numbers. So
no rush. What the hell?
They had $305 million in September of 2020. 92% was wagered from mobile devices. They had just under $7 million in revenue. That's the adjusted gross revenue. That's after you take out the promos and everything else. They had a 2.2% hold. Uh-huh. Now, I keep mentioning the hold because of what I'm going to talk about after this state, which is Tennessee, which has the required 10% hold. So, but Illinois is actually doing incredibly well. I was actually surprised to find out when I did a little research for this, from June through September, which is when the state launched, really, baseball is the most popular and most profitable handle-wise in terms of money for that state.
Yeah, interesting.
3.2 million bets, $133 million from June through September. Football is actually getting close to it. It's 2.7 million bets, totaling $92 million in about half that time.
Oh, well, yeah. I always say, and everyone says, football is the sport for betting.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And Rivers was the top sports book. Rivers in Des Plaines $113 million in wagers in September, the most of any Illinois casino. And the $305 million was so good, it topped the September and October handles from Indiana. September handle in Indiana was $208 million. The October handle in Indiana was $231 million.
Okay.
So they beat their neighbor.
Okay.
Also, over in Illinois, while we're here in this state, might as well talk about what FanDuel did.
Yeah, no, it's a big time.
When FanDuel first started in Illinois, they had launched with the Paradise Casino. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I remember seeing the mobile app screenshots where it had FanDuel at Paradise on the images. They have transferred their sports betting license from the Paradise to the Fairmount Park racetrack, which is, I think, what they had intended to do anyway.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's such a historic place, too.
95-year-old track.
Yeah.
They're going to be rebranding it as the FanDuel Sportsbook and Horse Racing.
Great.
And they're also going to be investing. This is the first time FanDuel's doing this. They're going to be investing millions of dollars into the track itself to revitalize the track and the property surrounding it.
Well, like I said, and like we talked about in the interview with Bill Pasquarelli, you got to help the horse racing industry across the country, and I think it's such a great thing that sports betting is really aiding the horse racing industry, not only here in New Jersey, again in Illinois too, and you'll see that across the country as well.
Well, the one thing that's great with this is FanDuel already has TVG. They own that, the horse racing channel.
And it makes sense. TVG, I like TVG.
TVG is fun to watch.
It's really great.
It's constantly fun to watch. And FanDuel and TVG will also fund the renewal and running of the $250,000 St. Louis Derby, which has not been run at that place since 2006.
Yeah, like I said, it's such a great thing that sports betting and horse racing almost go hand in hand here in New Jersey. I mean, there's a new sports book that just opened very close to us in Freehold Park. Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely great.
It's the Park Sportsbook.
Yes, the Park Sportsbook, but it's owned by Penn National or something like that.
Which leads me to believe you're going to see another sportsbook there, too.
Maybe, yeah, no, but Monmouth Park is another place in New Jersey where there's sports betting.
There's actually, and also in the Meadowlands you have two. You have FanDuel and PointsBet.
Yeah, absolutely. So they almost go hand in hand. It's great to see these two gambling, establishments helping out each other.
Well, it would be nice to see at some point some of these sports books have both sports betting and horse racing together.
Yeah. No,
that would be nice to combine.
Yeah.
At some point, that's got to happen. That would actually be the biggest help to the horse racing industry in certain areas anyway.
It would certainly be great.
Well, that's Illinois. And I had mentioned, the 2% hold with regards to Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to talk about Tennessee now.
Okay.
In their first week of legal sports betting at Tennessee, now they launched, what was that, November 1st? October 30th, November 1st, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Sports bettors in Tennessee wagered $27 million in the first week. It's all mobile. I don't have to say what retail was because there's no retail.
Yeah, there's no. Tennessee's interesting. No casinos, no retail sports books, just only online sports betting.
And the very first NFL betting Sunday, they had $5.1 million bet alone on Sunday alone. And the four books that were in operation, I think there's three more coming at some point. But the four that are in operation took $800,000 in revenue from those day one bets. So that NFL Sunday was very lucrative for everybody.
Yeah, we're going to hear all about the Tennessee sports betting market because next week we're going to be talking with Stephen Keach from Roto Grinders and
Turnpike,
Better Collective.
Yes. Yep.
And he's going to be. He was actually in the state when it launched. So
it's always interesting to get the ground level perspective there.
Yeah, I know. But next week, Stephen Keach from Roto Grinders and Better Collective, he's going to give us the lowdown on how it all started.
Now, like I said, $800,000 in revenue from just the NFL Sunday. The first week generated $2.5 million in revenue.
Wow!
And the hold, and everyone made a big deal about this 10% hold. They had a natural hold of 9.3%.
Yeah.
So I think that's doable. Especially if you got a lot of parlay bettors.
Yeah.
Well,
who was that? I forgot who tweeted this out. I don't know if it's a saying across the board for sports bettors, but parlays don't build bankrolls; they build sports books.
That's 100% correct.
So,
and that leads me into proof positive with Delaware.
Delaware huh?
released their numbers.
Delaware was the one that always had sports betting.
They only had parlay only.
Only parlay, which
is why we're going to be hearing a good number here for the books. The October handle...
But they changed that, though. It's the normal sports betting now.
October handle of just over $14 million.
Yeah.
The hold was 24.87%.
Okay. So
24% hold.
Yeah, I mentioned, do they have regular betting now, or no? It's still
parlay.
Still parlay. Okay.
Still parlay only.
What a hold! 24%.
Well, that's the average. That's the overall hold.
Okay.
At the tracks, 19.41% hold. At the retail books, 34.25% hold.
All right.
So the books do pretty well down in Delaware in terms of hold.
So it's parlay only betting for retail. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So they had just under $3.5 million revenue and $1.28 million in taxes for the state of Delaware.
All right.
Moving over to Washington, D.C. I always find Washington, D.C. interesting because there's only two sports books to talk about, right now anyway. One is the district-wide one of Gambit, D.C., which is run by Intralot. And then you have the William Hill retail book, which is in the stadium where the Capitals play. And it's owned by... Monumental Sports and Entertainment, Ted Leonsis.
Sure.
William Hill, which is the sportsbook operator for the retail book, they reported 144,882 bets placed in October for a handle of $14.35 million. 17% increase from September. Gross gaming revenue of $2.7 million, also up over 100% from the previous month. So their revenue's skyrocketing here. And tax revenue was $271,000. And here's another monster hold, 18.9%.
Wow. That's
bad betting, I would assume.
Yeah. Boy.
So,
a lot of parlays, a lot of weird bets, I bet.
Yeah, and also first-time bettors probably.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Got to get them up and running at some point. But Gambit DC reported their numbers for October, which were actually pretty good in comparison to what they've been having. Still nowhere near what William Hill did. Gambit DC had a $4.2 million handle in October. They're online only.
Okay.
Again, they're run by Intralot. A lot of people have a problem with their pricing. But again, it's still bringing in numbers too. So they had a revenue total of $882,000.
Okay.
Revenue numbers for the app Gambit DC were up almost 65% from September. And they also had their highest revenue figure since they launched in May. So that's basically where we are for this week's episode of the Turnpike Sports Book Report. There is a lot of launches to talk about real quick. Pennsylvania, the Betfred Sportsbook opened up in Wind Creek, Bethlehem. Colorado, PointsBet had their launch, and they also have their headquarters there now.
Okay.
Indiana had William Hill retail books open in Caesar Southern and Horseshoe Hammond, and Virginia is still looking over 25 applications for the 12 licenses that they're going to be handing out for sports betting in that state. So that's it. These, and we have other news stories. Take a look at the Turnpike Sports blog for those. TurnpikeSportsRadio.com. Click on the blog. You'll see these posted up after this episode of the book report airs, about an hour after it is released. And if you have any questions or if you have any other news, info@TurnpikeSportsRadio.com is the best way to reach the show.
And that'll do it for us this week. And if you're going out to one of the newly reopened casinos or sports books, please be safe. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.